Good morning and welcome to Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. If you recollect, if you are interested in chess, you would remember that it was 1984 and the World Chess Championship was abruptly, without notice, called off. The reason was that Antley Karpov, the famous Russian chess player, the king of chess, was competing on the title, and there was a fear that he's likely to die. In 2 months, he had lost 22 pounds, almost 10 kilograms. And he was not exercising, he was thinking all the time. And the physical effects of this game, which is game of thought, showed one thing, that even thinking can burn calories. And as a matter of fact, the researchers show that if you keep on thinking, you can burn up to 6,000 calories in one day. Wow. Normal human consumption for a male is 2,000 calories. Ladies, between 1,500 to 1,800 calories. So you can burn estimated 6,000 calories if you're thinking for the whole day. Is the brain responsible for this massive uptake of energy? Does it mean that a physical exercise is less strenuous and less calorie consuming than thinking is? Can thinking harder be a simple route to lose weight? According to the doctors and the researchers, when the body is at rest, not engaged in any activity except breathing, digesting, and keeping itself warm, the brain uses 25% of the body's overall energy, mainly in the form of glucose. So even if you're not doing anything, 25% of your energy is being utilized. And that is approximately 400 calories per day for an average man or a woman. Imagine, if you're doing nothing, you are using 400 calories. And in some cases, it can go up to 450 calories. And if it's a 5 or 6-year-old child, the brain doesn't use 25% of the energy, it uses 60% of the body's energy. That means about 800 calories. So this glucose guzzling habit makes brain the most energy expensive organ of the body. But if you look at the weight, it is only 2% of the body's weight after all. That's it. So 2% of the body's weight is using up to 60% of the body's energy for the children and up to 25% of the body's energy as far as the adults are concerned. And humans are not unique in this respect. Mammals such as tiny bee, tree shrew, minuscule muscle, their body produces as much energy for the brain as human ones do. So in every form, microcosm, brain uses 25 to 60% depending on that. So the act of thinking, is that the reason that our aesthetics and Russians used to be slim and wiry? Most of the energy which the brain uses is the process of communication. And these communication processes are transmitted through the cell structures called synapses. And a lot of energy goes towards the synapses because it involves transportation of ions across membranes. In addition, don't forget, brain never rests. Only when you're in deep sleep that it rests. But even at that time, it's busy firing signals from cells to maintain your body function. Your heart has to function, your breathing, your lungs. So the brain, the function of the whole body, all the organs being controlled by the brain, the signals are being continuously sent. And what's more, servicing the brain, a fleet of cells exists to channelize nutrients towards these neurons. So the huge resources devoted to building a brain explain why during extensive development when we are 5 to 6 years old, our brains use 3 times more energy than we use it when we are grown up. Now, brain being the main guzzler. What about the mind? Because mind is what activates brain. And the more active your mind is, more thinking guy you are, the more energy it will slurp up. And more energy slurping up means burning more calories. So what accounts for the high mental jobs is that in case you are really mentally involved, if your mind is extremely active, if your brain is extremely active, you can definitely consume more energy. But the one thing more, since brain is just 2% of the part of the body, this consumption of energy and burning the calories is not going to affect you overall. That's something which I want to tell you. It does help you. So physical activity coupled with brain activity, both the body and the brain have to work in tandem. And the work naturally, you will lose weight if you think hard, but you would lose proper weight if you think and act. So that is quite interesting, because till now we have been saying, well, it does nothing. So doing nothing can also be doing a great thing. And that gives me an idea that I should write an article on the concept of doing nothing. Anyway, that will take up later on. And now there is a new air taxi which has been made. It uses 5G technology, and the purpose is that it can see around the corners. Normally, when it's an air taxi, it can look up, look and down, look right and left. But the corners, the blind spots are not able to see. But this now what they say, they don't call it a helicopter, they call it a multicopter. You see, there's a German startup company called Volocopter, and it made a first manned fully electric vehicle, Volo City, take off and air taxi sort of a thing, helicopter with air taxi. Now, the new taxi which they have made, multicopter, it looks like a small helicopter and it is a drone-like resemblance. 18 battery-powered rotors are there, and users are able to summon to the nearest hub using smartphone app. But then this is quite interesting because the purpose is it will be much safer, much easier, and you will be able to use it in congested places as well. So talking of the robots, because this is robotic in fact, a military bot has been developed which follows the orders. Well, you will say that every robot follows the order, but this military robot can follow verbal commands. Normally, what's there, you have a software which is fitted in that, so the verbal commands are not there. So this robot recognizes, analyzes physical objects, can even ask follow-up questions. It doesn't accept the command. You give it command, and then it will follow up with the questions. This robot is a part of an effort led by the Army, along with MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and NASA. And its work is basically similar to a dog. The only thing is, this military dog is controlled by a tablet, and it can work as a day scout. It can detect explosive devices with the terrorists have planted, and the security threats can be identified before the human troops enter the area. So this is a great security and safety measure for our army. But since we are talking of that, can you imagine tiny sunflowers using their inert capacity to harvest solar energy? We know the sunflowers are attracted towards the sun and they move around the sun. As the sun moves, they move. But these are the solar panels made in the shape of the tiny artificial sunflowers. And they bend towards light like the solar flowers do. But they are not only bending, they are absorbing energy. This is a solar panel that way, and then converting into energy for our common use. They are called sunbots. And what do they consist of? A stem made of a material that reacts to the light. So it's not only the flower in the stem. And energy harvesting flowers at the top. So the light is attracted first by the stem, and then it's harvested by the flower, and it's made from a standard light absorbing material used in sun. And the total area of a sunbot is less than 1 millimeter. Less than 1 millimeter. So when part of the sunbot stem is exposed to light, it heats up and shrinks. And the moment the stem bends, it will bend the artificial flower towards the light. And once the sunbot is aligned with the light, then the stem stops bending because the bending creates a shadow. So automatically it bends, flower comes in the synchronizes with the sunlight and starts absorbing energy, and by the time stem has stopped bending. So point is that if the stem doesn't bend at all, would that be possible or not? And now can you believe it? As compared to the ordinary solar cells, solar panels, these sunbots are able to harvest 400% more solar energy. I mean, as compared to the solar panels of the same size, say there's a lawn full of the sunflower, and the same area is with the solar panels, these would be harvesting 400% more solar energy. So this is a major achievement for renewable energy users. And then, we are very clear that we need protein. But sorry, there's a myth. Eating protein does not build muscle. Whatever food you take, you always say, let's take protein. Because protein gives a sort of an aura, a halo to the product. So all the manufacturers say it's protein rich whey, protein rich that. It's a myth. Eating a lot of protein does not build lean muscle. What muscles require protein is to repair and to grow. But consuming more protein than what is recommended will not enable muscles to grow. As a matter of fact, if this was true, an average American would be far more muscle bound because an average American uses about 100 grams of protein per day, while the recommended dose is 65 grams. So John Hopkins Institute has studied, and they have said that there's too much of emphasis on protein is self-defeating. As a matter of fact, even the complex carbohydrates and the proteins, if they're mixed together, that's much better. So a diet of 100% protein consumption is not a recommended one. And any amino acid not used by the body's bones, tendons, enzymes is ultimately converted into sugar. And this sugar is converted into fat. So be careful. Ensure that your body is consuming all the amino acids which your food has, and that it can consumed only with the help of complex carbohydrates. So this is a paradox. Our researchers one day come up, take protein, then they come up, take complex carbohydrates. Well, they're good research, I don't deny it, but they're so confusing. The best thing is take a balanced food, balance, have a balanced thinking, have a balanced physical activity. Balance in the whole life, in all respect, is the ideal way out. Nevertheless, I'm sure you must have learned something today from these four major nuggets, and what the others are, we'll see next week. Thank you.